I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love
Good cup of Joe, guys. Get your vetted merch at vetted.show. Hello, everyone. Vetters, welcome. So glad to have you guys watching. We have a very special live stream today. My apologies for starting late. If you're watching on rewatch, doesn't matter. So let's move on from that. Shout out to all the mods that are working the chat today. Thank you guys so much. And a special shout out to Allie and Justin, who are returning from Florida. To Florida, pardon me, with the hurricane. So shout out to everyone. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Florida dealing with Hurricane Milton right now. And of course, special shout out to Clint as well, who was in South Florida, Central Florida, I should say, having to deal with this as well. So just shout out to them. Hope everything's okay. And they're going to be good. So look, we are going to be talking about this brand new secret, unacknowledged special access UFO program that has been revealed in a special report by journalist Michael Schellenberger. Covered it yesterday on the podcast. I'll put a link in the description after the stream's over to go see just a simplified video of exactly what's going on. But we're going to dive deep. We are going to dive deep, y'all, in today's stream about this program. So with that, I brought two professional scuba divers to help me dive deep into this. Of course, we've got Pavel. Everyone knows Pavel from Psychoactivo. Welcome to the show, Pavel. And we also have a very special guest with us today, Todd Harper. You may not recognize the face, but this is his first time on camera, on Vetted. He runs, I would say he helps run the Discord in a lot of ways, man. You guys have talked to him in open mic, had conversations, chatting away with him, and I thought I'd bring him on to help add a little, dynamic to this discussion that we're going to have today, because we talked a lot in our open mic yesterday on Discord, and we always talk. So Todd's a great guy to have, and he's a fellow vetter, bringing him out. So welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you for having us. Todd also, just so you know, he was the one who made the new Psychoactivo logo. So thank you, Todd. His talent is very appreciated.
I like it. Brother. I like it. Yes. Okay. Pavel, you got a new logo. Todd made it. That's sick.
Yes, sir. That's the one I got for KGRA radio. He made like the main aspect of the logo, and then the colors and everything were added later. But it's from his mind and inspiration. So
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I love that. I had nothing to do with our logo, so I can't take credit. Shout out to whoever did that, the Vetted logo. People love it. I do too. All I said was I want a big V. That's what I said. I want a big V, like a spaceship, something. And this is, and I love it.
It's pretty awesome, though.
Right? Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Because the one I made originally, which is my Vetted Discord profile pic, that I made that on my own in Canva or something. It's bullshit. It's nothing. Anyway, guys, brand new UFO program revealed, right? Immaculate Constellation. And there's been some confusion on the name, right? It's been called Immaculate Conception to Immaculate. I won't even say other terms that got used that I saw in the chat. But look, I'm going to play a real quick clip from Michael Schellenberger. It's just like a minute long or something here of him kind of explaining the program a little bit for everyone watching. And then let's jump in. I want to get y'all's just initial thoughts on this program, coming out, being revealed. So I should have had this more ready, y'all. Okay, let's get this screen up. We got a lot of stuff to dive in, y'all. A lot of connections. A lot of things came out after this news broke, which was 2 days ago. which was Tuesday. All right, let's bring this up. Bam. There's me. Love it. Patrick and Patrick, y'all. Okay, again, this is Michael Schellenberger talking to Ross Coulthart on News Nation about this program, Immaculate Constellation. Let's hear it. Talking with Ross Coulthart on News Nation about this program.
Yeah, this is an incredible story. So a new whistleblower has come forward with a written report that this person has shared with some members of Congress and with me. And the report is quite extraordinary. It says that there is an unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation, which is the parent program, is the language used for exactly what you said: UAP, crash retrieval, reverse engineering, and apparently a very large database of high quality photographs, videos, infrared videos, apparently much more sophisticated documentation of many more UAP encounters than have been released. And so the article is really about the allegation that this program exists and that it has been withheld from Congress illegally. I think it's important for viewers to understand that the first article of the United States Constitution requires congressional oversight of all of the activities of the executive branch of the United States government. So whether or not you think there are extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence or anything, even if you think that all of this is just some sort of advanced craft, the allegation here by a new whistleblower verified by other sources in a position to know is that the Pentagon the Defense Department has withheld, kept secret this information from Congress, which is a violation of the Constitution and illegal. So I think that what we're looking at here is really a story about the abuse of power, including in potential disinformation from the Pentagon, just as much as it is this other question of what exactly are people seeing in UAPs.
All right, so again, and let's bring back everybody up. So I think that gives a great overall description of there's more to it clearly, but just an overall description of what news broke, right? That this brand new program was revealed by this leaked whistleblower report. Michael Schellenberger has spoken to this whistleblower. And yeah, Pavel, let's just get your initial thoughts on this.
Oh man, there's so many, but mostly the reactions from the quote unquote bigwigs, that they were like already, some of them already had their videos or their reporting on this program, meaning that they are like a concerted effort to put this out. I do have reservations when that happens, but the fact that Schellenberger was the one who broke it is giving me a little bit more confidence on it being actually real, because he has an amazing track record and we can't really overlook that. He's a wonderful journalist. So I do want to say that. And also, if you guys remember, the name Zodiac has come up a couple of times before. George Knapp has said it. I know that who was this? James Yandoli from Engaging the Phenomenon. He interviewed Dr. Comp Kelleher, and they talked about this, and they were very coy, like we can't talk about this, and and I think it's a possibility that when this program Zodiac may have ended, this one is the one that may have started after the 2017 New York Times article. So yeah, it tracks for me, at least.
Sure. Yeah, Todd, what do you think, man? As just regular veteran watching the show, right?
Yeah.
You see this news break, like, what's your thoughts?
Thank you. The thing that I'm impressed by, I think the most, is the fact that Schellenberger kind of went into the background, it receded into the background, and said that I'm not coming forward until I have something significant, right? Like I'm no longer just going to report on this average news. I want to have something of substance before I come forward. And so I think what's impressive about this, and I agree with Pavel and you, that this guy's got pretty impeccable credentials. You know, like he's a very credentialed guy that is very well respected in the journalist community. Clearly he has the education and he's got contacts, and he's coming forward and he's saying, look, this is something significant, right? And I've heard people say, various community members, like he was on Rogan, I think last night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he had a little slip of the tongue. He said Immaculate Conception. Well, I mean, I think all of us kind of, when we heard that name, it's just that subliminal thing in your head where you're kind of drawing that comparison, and maybe there's intent behind that. But there's also been information about how that term immaculate is used within the DoD, which has other connotations. So I think it for me, and I feel like we covered this in the open mic yesterday, there's a little bit of excitement around this, right? There's a little buzz. There's a little buzz that maybe hasn't been there for a little bit. It's not that we haven't had news, but we haven't had news like that gets everybody talking, the water cooler stuff. And I feel like this is it. You know, it might be a little more pervasive in the media as time goes on. We might see a little bit more and more of this drip into mainstream, which is encouraging, especially with the advent of the November 13th hearing coming up. And then we've got the Arrow hearing with Gillibrand coming up before that, supposedly. And then hopefully we can get past all this political mess in the U.S., at least let the dust settle a little bit and settle into getting into these guys, like really sinking our teeth into like what is going on. I'm really excited about the James Fox documentary. I know there's a lot of different hot opinions about that, but I personally love the guy. I think he's golden. And I think this all kind of ties together. I have a feeling that there's a weaving of this information all together as a collective, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Well said, guys. All right. Well, look, these are just a few bullet points on my fancy clipboard from my food truck with paper and marker. That's right, guys. That's right. We are high production value. Yeah, I love writing things down. If you see my sticky notes around, you cannot see it out of frame here, but I got a lot of books. I love writing things down. These, books.
I appreciate your
filled with shit, typing stuff. I hate typing.
Yeah,
okay, look. These are a few bullet points from this program that we learned, right? From this article specifically, I guess I should say. One, Susan Go and the Pentagon have denied the existence of this program, right? That is an official statement. We have this new mysterious whistleblower, right? And his report being leaked, and it has been shown to Congress, members of Congress or staffers, not really specific on that. The name of the program is, again, Immaculate Constellation. We'll get into more of that name. And it's kind of just named as a parent program, they kind of called it, right? Reconnaissance effort, as Jeremy Corbell stated. And this sort of database, right, of high quality images, photos, who else knows what kind of data of UAPs. It's run out of the office of the Secretary of Defense, allegedly, right? Not informed to the Gang of Eight in America. And apparently naming the program, which I've done several times in other videos, puts you in the danger zone. But I figured so many people were covering it everywhere now. I figured that's got to be something it used to be, and it's not anymore. And supposedly this whistleblower found this information by accident. Okay. It was not intentional. They are apparently outside of the normal group of people who have looked into UAP, right? Whatever that means. And then, of course, there was a couple different instances of UAP events, one with an F-22, one with an aircraft carrier, with, some of these orbs or some other craft, right? And they named other types of craft that have been seen since the 90s till today, Arrowhead, Tic Tac, that kind of thing, triangle craft. But since that information has come out in this article, there's been some other connections that have been made that I want to go through with you guys after this. Pavel kind of touched on one, Zodiac, right? Which I actually heard Todd mention as well yesterday in our open mic, right? Because of this word constellation. And I think one of the most fascinating things here's a few of the points, and then we'll break them down. There's a new clip from Matt Gaetz that we're going to look at, right, talking about UFOs, which is interesting. Also, this clip of recently of Elon Musk talking about UFOs that we're going to share, and the information around the Google search of this term. Okay, there's a lot of interesting data points about that. Also, David Grush's connection to this in some way. I'm not saying he's directly connected to this program, but he said some things that correlate with some of the information coming out about this program. And the first thing that I'm going to show is, let me get it real quick. This is quite interesting, y'all. Okay, hang on, and then y'all tell me what you think. Okay, boom, boom. Okay, so right here, this is I don't know. Oh, y'all can't see that, can you? This is David Grush's resume. All right. And I wish I could zoom in on that. Can I? Oh, here we go. Let me zoom in. Okay. Oh, where is it?
There's like 3 pages, I think, of that resume. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I have the right page, but in it, he talks about a constellation. Oh, I should have had this found.
I wonder if it's probably an image, isn't it? We need some OCR, some real-time OCR here.
I hadn't seen that.
Trying to find. Oh man, I can't find it on here, but okay, right.
I'll look, brother. I'll look.
Yeah, it says a constellation comprising hundreds of satellites stationed across multiple orbits. NRO's proliferated architecture is part of the office's broader plan to drastically increase the number of space vehicles it operates. Right, a constellation, right, comprising hundreds of satellites stationed. Right, that has to be what this program is part of, right? This Immaculate Constellation, right? All the satellites being stars around our planet, and they're looking at it like a constellation of sorts, which is interesting.
I know that Elon has other programs that he's managing, so that's why I think it's important that you talk about the clip that you're about to play of Elon and
Matt
Tucker.
Gaetz. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And look, there's I'll put links to all of this right here. Here's a link to that. I'll put links to this at the end of the stream so you can go dig further into everything we show here today. All right, you know what? Let's just play that clip. Pavel, I think you're right. Which one do you want me to play first? Do you think I should play the Elon or the
Matt Gaetz?
Matt Gaetz one. Which one?
Either one is fine though. Both add to the story.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you what. Let's just show the Matt Gaetz one, and then we'll talk it, and then we'll show the Elon one. All right. Can y'all see that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. This is Matt Gaetz, Congressman Matt Gaetz from Florida, on the Benny. I think his name is Benny Johnson. Yeah. It's called The Benny Show, and they're talking mainly about the hurricane in Florida, but there's one part in particular where they talk about UFOs, and what Matt Gaetz says is interesting. Take a look.
What about UFOs? Well, we're learning more each and every day. You're getting the titrated leaking on the UFOs. Like, it's now open source information that the CIA has a program around craft recovery. It's not a question anymore. And so that's probably where I would start: the craft recovery and the biologics that have been taken from those crafts.
Are people going to be ready for that?
I think you got to let it out there. You don't inure to the benefit of the citizenry by keeping those kind of secrets from them. And look,
what about UFOs?
Well, we're learning more each and every day.
Play it one more time.
You're getting the titrated leaking on the UFOs. Like, it's now open source information that the CIA has a program around craft recovery. It's not a question anymore. And so that's probably where I would start: the craft recovery and the biologics that have been taken from those crafts.
What do y'all think when he says like it's public knowledge, right? That the CIA has this office. What do y'all think here?
Todd.
Well, I don't think it was public knowledge. I mean, clearly, it's interesting how Google seems to be scrubbed now of a lot of the information. So clearly it wasn't public, and we've seen this spike of searches, right? So there was that whole talk about last year, right around the time of the hearing last year, where we had that little spike in searches that pointed to Dayton, Ohio. You know,
well, hey, we'll get to that in a second,
okay,
Todd. Hang
cool.
on. Let's just focus on this clip
Good.
of Matt Gaetz, right, talking about this public knowledge of the CIA.
Yeah, I don't know where he gets that from. I mean, honestly, I don't think the average person, like, who, you know, like, no, I don't think so. But I mean, maybe that's just his worldview. You know what I mean? Like he's embedded in it, so maybe within his circle, he sees that and he just assumes that. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah. Anyway,
he's part of the Armed Services Committee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that man, I wish I was a fly on the wall of Congress when they're talking about this stuff, because you can see like pretty much chronologically how people within Congress have like switched over time and now start talking about this a little more casually, either on podcasts or in front of news nations, microphones and cameras. And when I saw Lou Elizondo talking to, I think it was Kurjai Mongol, when he said there's no, like, the stigma is receding gradually. People used to be afraid of going to psych evaluation when they spoke about UAP. Now that doesn't happen anymore. And I think this is part of this, what Lou was talking about, but within Congress, right? Because I know that I spoke to Matt Laszlo on Monday or Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday. And he keeps telling me that the majority of people within Congress, you ask them about UAP and most of them go like, what are UAP again? But I do think that the number of people who are talking about this more openly is increasing, even though it's a little bit slow, but it is increasing. And he says that it's open source, but he means within Congress, not like in the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
That's what I gather from it.
No, those are good points. I think it's also important to remember Matt Gaetz's history with this topic, right? He spoke at the hearing last year and told a story about hearing from pilots and seeing a photo. And we've seen some of that information and more come out about this. And I think you're right, Pavel. I think he just means within this sort of inner circle of people, right, behind the scenes, that it's openly talked about, right? Like this exists. And if I believe I'm correct, which I often do, Chris Sharp reported on this before about the CIA's Office of Global Access essentially being this crash retrieval program, right? And getting vehicles of unknown origin, which that could be confusing, right? I could see how that could be, we don't know where this thing is from, but a body, that seems pretty black and white. That's not effing human. You know what I mean? That's why I like the focus on the bodies. And when Matt Gaetz said that, I think that's it. We got it, because that is like more indisputable. But a craft, China could argue, oh, it's mine, that's our, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like a craft could be, even unless it was just some crazy ass craft that was just, you know, doing stuff that honestly people have said they can do. So if it was one of
like
those,
like the Nellis UFO, you know, I mean, that thing.
Some of these that glow and are alive, and
like
right, you hear these terms. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, and I think your connection to the program of James Fox's documentary could very well be that. And I think what David Grush is talking about in his resume and this constellation of satellites, right? That's it. And there's been speculation that the name Immaculate Constellation may not be the current name, and it changed. It got updated. That's why Susan Go, and the statements you're getting from the Pentagon, they're very specific. I said this in our open mic yesterday. They're very specific denials, meaning there's no program called Immaculate Constellation, but they're not saying there's not a program to XYZ, what you're stating the program does, if that makes sense. I think maybe that's the question they should ask, and maybe they have. But forget the name of the program. Is there a program that does something, whatever it's called, that does what they're saying, this program can do, has done, is doing? Those are some of the questions I have. Is this an ongoing program? How long has it been around? Has it changed names? Who all's involved? Who's read in? Who has access to the database, right? Like all of these sort of things, right? I'm sure everyone has these questions.
Well, and just ask John Greenwald Jr. about how much they changed names and how specific that criteria is when you're trying to dig up info on this. FOIA is a perfect example. One letter difference, and you may not be able to go down the rabbit hole you're trying to go down, right? Like they're very keen on. Look, man. A lot of people think that government is a bunch of bumbling fools. That's probably true, but the DOD and the intel community, not so stupid. So just saying,
no.
They know their trade craft.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I found it interesting that Tic Tac was spelled with 2 Ks on that News Nation thing. So I don't know if that's just someone on the graphics who doesn't know and puts it like that, or should John Greenwald start searching for Tic Tac spelled that way?
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But okay, this is a clip we were talking about earlier. It came out, I don't know, honestly, within the last week, basically. Elon Musk talking to Tucker Carlson, and you'll see the relevancy as I play it here.
When you say, what are the aliens?
Where are the aliens? Like, why don't we see them?
He corrects them.
Aliens, but I've not seen any evidence of aliens. We've got 6,000 satellites in orbit, and not once have we had to maneuver around an alien spacecraft.
Right. But on this Earth, the U.S. military has had to do a lot of maneuvering around objects they can't explain.
Well, unidentified flying objects is one thing, but I mean, there's always a bunch of classified programs that are underway of new aircraft and new missiles and things. So that are classified even within the military. So it's only if you have the top secret compartmented clearance, would you know about this new program? So then some pilot sees something moving fast and says, "Hey, I saw a UFO." I'm like, "Yeah, that was actually a new weapons program, but we can't tell you that." If you can guarantee that.
Tucker looks so
evidence of aliens. I will immediately post that on the X platform, and it'll probably be our #1 post of all time.
That'll be your biggest day.
Yes,
for sure.
That'll be your biggest day for sure. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, Tucker. Yeah, what do y'all? I think the satellite thing that he brought up was interesting, right? That he knows about satellites. He knows what's up there. Does he know the capabilities of all the satellites that are up there? Right?
If I'm not mistaken, he has a project with the NRO.
What if he's part of it, dude, and that's why he doesn't talk about it?
Yeah, and he's been very consistent. He's been very consistent in saying, "I've seen no evidence of aliens." He's used that word.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And the verbiage that the people claiming to know about the program are using a very different slang terms when it comes to that. They use non-human intelligence. They never use aliens. They make it a point to tell you we're not talking about aliens. So I think Elon, I mean, he has a lot of power. He has a lot of contracts with different nations. He has to take care of that. He has 4 or 5 companies. I get it. I mean, I don't blame him for covering this up and covering his ass, to be honest with you.
Sure. And there's going to be things he's not aware of, right? Classified military, right? Like
a lot,
right? There's going to be stuff he's clearly not going to be read in on because they're like, you'll tweet about it.
Yeah.
We can't tell you. So find that very interesting.
Elon's a little roguish. He is, and I think they see him as potential. Like here's a guy that could go off the rails if he wanted to. let's
Yep.
keep him confined.
Yep.
That would be my guess.
Yep. No, you're not wrong. Todd, we're going to go over something that you brought up earlier that I know I'm excited to talk about you as well, which is this aspect of the Google search. So why don't you just, from your perspective, like, what do you understand about that? Like, and I'm going to bring something up on the screen while you talk about that. You know, I'm talking about the Google, like.
Yeah, sure. That when this news first hit, people were finding information that was pointing back to last year and earlier, depending on how you did your search.
Yeah.
And there's a question, you know, like there was a mention of all the way back to 2020, 2021. And that was a little bit in question simply because it might have been a little bit of junk data in there from an AI search. I don't know if that's correct or not, but certainly the last year's aspect of it was very intriguing in the fact that the hearing took place in July? Am I correct about that? Was it July?
Yeah.
And so the spike was right around that time frame, June, July.
June. Right
before,
right after he came out, but before the hearings.
Right. And so somebody was able to track down the actual search criteria to where you could kind of pinpoint an area that it was concentrated, these spikes were concentrated in, and it was Dayton, Ohio, which is where Wright Patterson,
yep.
which everybody I would hope by now knows in this community. If you don't, Wright Patterson is the pinnacle of this phenomena in terms of the government's involvement in DoD and intel communities. So
that's where they claim that the craft from Roswell was taken.
Yes,
and bodies, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, like just all kinds of things. I mean, it couldn't be any crazier that's the place, right? Like, it is kind of insane.
Hangar 17, is it Hangar 17?
And just to like clarify, right? Just to steel man this back, so to make sure that the audience here understands what we're trying to say exactly. Basically, what we're saying is that this term, Immaculate Constellation, was searched right after David Grush came out, and the spikes were around Dayton, Ohio, where Wright Patterson Air Force Base. So the alleged implication here, potentially, the question I would ask is, maybe this leaked whistleblower report was out, or this program was part of David Grush's investigation, and I believe that to be the case, right? How could this not be part of David Grush's investigation, right? This program. And I believe that was in his, IC report that no one has access to, right? We haven't seen that full investigation. And I think people saw that and were searching for that term, right? After they saw the report, after he came out. And I find that super interesting.
Yeah. And you were talking about the danger zone for mentioning this. I think it was very important for Michael to take that step and for all of us to keep mentioning it. So he remains protected, That is very important, I think. So we got to keep saying it.
You're right.
And
I agree.
Just FYI for those that might not know, Project Blue Book was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Now they weren't accommodated very well. It was kind of a crap setup they gave them, but that is where it was based out of. And there was also the Foreign Technology Division that existed there. This was supposedly where the materials that came through were processed. And if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, JFK's car was sent there after it left.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It did. And photographed and analyzed and disappeared.
Unfortunately, I cannot pull up the graphs and stuff of the Google search results. I don't know. All of a sudden it says I'm unable to view the account owner limit. I think I got blocked by them somehow, just like
Are you referring to the images that?
With it literally on screen here, I think I got blocked because it was showing before, and when I clicked to see, it wouldn't let me click on it anymore. So I don't know.
I'll take it.
That is kind of weird.
So whatever. go check that out. It's if you go to Jesse again, I'll put a link to Jesse Michael's tweet. You should be able to see it, but for some reason, I think Vetted just got blocked, which I don't understand. But yes, look, Wright Patterson. Okay, we got.
I
more
just sent you a
here to that.
screenshot, Patrick,
okay.
on Twitter of
On
the
Twitter.
that same tweet, so you can check it out
Oh, okay. Let me.
on Twitter DMs.
Got it. Okay, give me a second. I will pull that up. But while I do that, I'm gonna play a little clip of guess who talking about Wright Patterson.
David Grush.
Shout out to UAP Files here. I hope this plays. Okay.
You have the chair of the House Intel Committee, Mike Turner, who's blocking us from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio area, right, Pat? Weird.
Mm-hmm.
And
right. Pat meaning Wright Patterson Air
yes,
Force.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it is strange. Okay.
You have the chair.
Okay, David, we heard you. Stop.
David's not done yet. Let him go.
Yeah, he's like, hang on. There's one more. All right, let me pull this down because I don't want people seeing all my DMs that I have with everybody. Secrets, y'all. I got lots of secrets. I'm kidding.
Opening the vetted vault.
Let me. Where is it? How come I don't see it, Pavel? It just said I had a new message, and then it's. Oh
yeah, I just.
They're all up in your stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Conspiracy.
All right, let's do that. Boom. There we go. Thank you. Shout out to Pavel.
Beautiful.
And you can see, and Austin, which coincidentally is where like Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff have their office, Baylor University. There's a lot here.
Denver, Colorado.
At UT Austin as well. And yeah, it's just
CIA headquarters. Are they in Denver now? You got Iron Mountain, which is the continuity of government facility. Hello.
Damn.
What
Boston,
about the NRO? Is the
Harvard?
NRO?
I don't know.
Let's look it up. NRO.
It's near there. It's in Florida. It's in that area. It's just all peculiar, right? There's no like definitive evidence here, right? This is all speculation. We don't know. We're just throwing out connections that I'm super skeptical. So even I'm saying these are some interesting connections that, I mean, hard to ignore, to be honest with you. Right. The fact about the search where it's happening at the same time as David Grush coming out. Again, I think this is part of David Grush's investigation.
Yeah.
This
where
program.
there's smoke, there's probably fire.
Because not only, have we shown that in David Grush's resume, he's mentioned Constellation. We've also shown the searches coming after David Grush coming out about this program. But something else that is interesting, all right, which is David Grush has come out and said he was part of a program using satellites and satellite imagery to pinpoint UFO crashes and track UAP in the atmosphere using a specific frequency. Let me bring up some of that.
And I find he worked for the NRO.
Yeah, on top of all that. Yes, exactly. So look, I have a couple videos. You can go check them out if you want to learn more about that. Again, I'll put links in the description. But this is one where he's on News Nation talking about his firsthand knowledge. Okay, firsthand knowledge. And then this second one down here about the reveals firsthand knowledge. He had done this meeting in New York City, private sort of presentation, and revealed there more information. And supposedly in his op-ed was supposed to come out more information about this program that he was in. And I believe it's this program, Immaculate Contraception, or what is it? Sorry.
Nice.
I screwed it up. Immaculate Constellation, right? So I think I don't know. I just see a lot of connections here. I'm not saying that David Grush is this whistleblower, but I think that program is part of his investigation. I just don't see how this program couldn't be part of his investigation. And I think this is the program that Dave was read into as well as amongst other officials, as it's stated. So I don't know. What do y'all?
Did you guys see the Danny Sheehan tweet where he confirms that there are another 2 whistleblowers who also talked about this? That was interesting to me too.
No, I didn't know that just happened. He just tweeted that.
He tweeted it like yesterday or the day before. So it's recent from his personal Twitter account.
Oh, not New Paradigm, you're saying?
No. Yeah, his personal account.
Got it.
The New Paradigm's been dropping stuff every day. It's interesting. Yeah. They're really kind of building up to their whatever, if they're going to start
October surprise. It's on the 17th or 18th, right?
What is?
I mean, that's true.
That's when the documents that were allowed after the UAPDA, the part of the UAPDA that passed.
The disclosure of the archive, National Archives. Yeah. Got it.
Is this it right here where he says without, what's the date? That's yesterday. Without enhanced protections, the 40+ UFO whistleblowers waiting to come forward with firsthand knowledge of the phenomena, including information about crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs, will remain in the shadows. Is that the one?
No, it's a little.
You keep going here.
It starts with "It's true" on October.
Oh, right here. 8th. Here we go. It's true. We've known about this. So this is in reference to the program Immaculate Constellation, right? So he's reposting and quoting into it. Yeah. He's saying it's true.
We can't see it though. We can't.
Yeah, we can't see it.
Right. Oh. Okay. Bam. Sorry. Right here. Okay. Yes. So he's saying it's true. We've known about this particular whistleblower as well as 2 others who have confirmed the existence of the Immaculate Constellation UFO UAP program. If none of these 3 sources are called to testify publicly, Congress will essentially be failing. Will be failing in its constitutional duty. They are now on notice. This program is completely unconstitutional, a violation of Article 1 of the Constitution, which is one of its most fundamental premises. So I think that's also important to remember that, this issue is more than just UFO. It's like this is an illegal program, regardless if you believe in aliens or UFOs or if you think that's what's happening. And that's how Michael Schellenberger tries to frame it as well, right? Like this is a story about this program, right? That's being illegally run and illegally funded.
And he's not saying non-human intelligence. He's not saying aliens. He's not saying anything.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just saying that this is an illegal program that is unacknowledged, that needs to be investigated, and that it is happening without the Gang of 8 being notified about it.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Specifically, yes, exactly. Which is important, right? They are supposed to be, at minimum, they are supposed to know things. That's why it's shrunk down, and it's not all 500 and whatever congressmen we have, 500 and something congressmen, if you include senators and, everything together. Yeah, absolutely. And Daniel here is saying in the tweet that 2 other whistleblowers have confirmed this program. Now, remember, this other whistleblower supposedly found this by accident, right? So they're supposed to not be part of this circular reporting. But are these other 2 whistleblowers who are confirming the leaked whistleblower, are they part of that circular reporting? Are they also outside of the system? That would be interesting.
That's like my first thought with this stuff is like, do they have the same source, right? Because even though you have these disparate sources coming forward, if they're being told or they revealed the information from the same source, what does it mean?
Sure.
And that is one of the talking points that people who are against all of this, debunkers, skeptics, whatever, they keep saying that all of this information comes from the same source. But if it's proven that it doesn't come just from that source and that it comes from different sources, that would be huge for this whole
I agree.
Set of news.
I agree. I mean, look, I trust Danny and what he's doing with these whistleblowers and everything. So, I mean, if that's what they're saying, I lean into it. Again, whether or not it's non-human, I don't know anything about that. But this program and how it's running, again, I think Michael Schellenberger's credibility as a journalist is, I don't know how you get better, right? Like he's very well respected. His stories, right? Like well researched. He took a long time, like Todd mentioned at the beginning. He's been waiting to kind of, because he's covered other stories about UFOs. I guess I should have mentioned that at the beginning. If you're not familiar with that journalist, he put out an article after David Grush had come out, right, with the ram's horn UFO, the famous quote from that article with these other whistleblowers. And he's covered this topic, but he wanted to wait till he had something big. How long has he been sitting on this story? I don't know. There's been a lot of this is what I find interesting. What about other people, bigger names, like that haven't commented on this, i.e. Christopher Mellon, Lou Elizondo? You've had Danny Sheehan comment on it. You had Jeremy Corbell comment on it and go on News Nation and talk about
Jesse
it. But
Michaels.
Yeah, Ross, clearly. Jesse Michaels, exactly. Has James Fox? Nothing, right? I don't know.
I think it's possible that...
Go ahead, Pavel.
Go ahead, Todd.
I was surprised at how quickly there was responses, right? Like Susan Goff almost seemed to be like sitting there with even though there was no substance to her response, she responded to it right away. Sure. And who were we talking about yesterday, Patrick? We were talking about Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Right. Made a statement almost immediately to Green Street.
I agree. That's weird.
Yeah.
I agree. That is weird.
I don't know what that means.
It's weird on both sides, though. Because
if they weren't worried about it, like they don't comment on every story. Like if some story comes out in the Daily, they're not comment. You know what I mean? Why this story? It must mean something.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
Pavel,
on both sides, they were fast, though. It wasn't.
You're
just
right. Exactly.
Kirkpatrick and Go. It was everybody else on the other side.
No, you're right.
We're already on it, and Corbell was even on with Chris Cuomo, right? Talking about this.
I'm celebrating, y'all. Party time. What the hell, man? I literally just
Immaculate Conceptions and contraceptions and contradictions.
People are gonna think I'm Mick West over here with balloons just floating around trying to no, you're right. And Jeremy said he had known about this, right? He sort of confirmed, like, I've known about this, right? How long have people known about? Again, I think this is all part of David Grush's investigation. I think it's the program he was read into. I have no confirmation about this, guys. I'm not saying I have a source that told me this, because y'all know I don't have sources. Nobody told me this. These are just clues.
I got breaking news
by the better community. Oh shit.
Pavel
is David Grush. You're the whistleblower, Pavel.
Nah, it's just a notification I got from Jesse Michaels. He just dropped the Lou Elizondo interview, and it's supposed to be over 3 hours. And you know how he gets really specific. No, it just dropped. I haven't seen it. It just dropped.
No, I'm saying maybe they talk about this program in there like ahead of time, right? Like,
I hope so, though.
It's weird. Sure.
The timing is kind of interesting, though.
Yeah.
Sure. The timing of all of this, right? Like how it's happening with the program from James Fox, this different information. You got the hearings about to come up in November, and this drops now right before the election. Like, I agree. Is this part of the drip out that many people have talked about? Do y'all think this has anything to do with anything Matthew Pines ever said, right? This coup de grace. I don't think that person or moment has happened yet.
I mean, yeah. And like, who would the person be? I don't know. Didn't we kind of like spar around a little bit yesterday about whether or not it might be who's the DOD gentleman that we were referring to? Oh, dang it.
The DOD
Lloyd Austin.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
And I know you said that he's not really a household name, but I mean, he is kind of preeminently in the forefront when it comes to the conversation of the defense stuff, right? That would be kind of wild if like someone like him came forward, but I don't see it personally. I just don't see him as, he seems such like a company guy. Like if I'm gonna assign a term, it would be a company guy. Like he's gonna toe the company line, and I just don't see him.
No.
I heard a couple of names, but Lloyd will be a good one, I think, too. But I heard that Jake Sullivan was gonna be, it was one of the names that could be that. And if it's Jake, that changes everything, though, because he's still active. He's still part of the presidency. And it should be one of those. Like the way Matthew Pines framed it sounded like it was someone of that stature, like someone who is currently at the White House. And if that happens, man, things are going to get a lot more interesting.
It would have to happen now before the election.
Yeah.
Right.
It would.
Essentially, which I think there is going to be some more stuff rolling out about this. Now, Danny's saying, did Danny put that in his tweet about they need to testify? Right. He did. Right. They need to test. So this whistleblower would have to not be secretive anymore. Right. He'd have to come out, show his face, testify before Congress.
I think at least one of those three should be at the November 13th hearing, right? At least one.
I mean, Tim Burchett is keeping all of that quiet, right? Because he doesn't want the list to get leaked out like last time. And then
he learned.
Bullied into not testifying for whatever reason. And he learned. The only person confirmed is Tim Gallaudet. And you had Eric Burleson, thanks to Matt Laszlo with Askapol, getting that interesting little bit with Eric Burleson saying, like, first of all,
I get a name.
Yeah, first of all, he said, "Oh, what hearing?" He didn't even know about the hearing. Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
Then he's like, "Oh, I got leaked a name about." What do you mean? You just said you didn't know about the hearing, and now you got a name for it? What's going on here?
Similar vibes to the no comment from Carson, right? Like they play coy initially, and then yeah.
So very interesting there, but I think maybe this article is put out, see the reception, and this whistleblower's like, let me see, right, how people take this before I decide to come out and testify, because he's given himself about a month, right? Basically, let's put this article out, see what the reception is, and basically that's a ticking time bomb. There are probably people right now actively trying to figure out who he is, right? So they wanted to give less time, because if he's going to testify publicly, well, you don't do the article 2 months ago, because then you got 3 months, right? You don't even know when that hearing was going to happen. So they made sure that the hearing was confirmed, right? They made sure that this is going to happen. And then this article comes out. So he's only got a month of people trying to search of who he is, but it also gives it enough time for the story to pick up and maybe convince other people that want to come forward. Does that make sense? Like, it's basically like from this to the hearing is a bunch is going to happen to help, right? All hands on deck during this month. Also makes it harder if people are looking into him. They're preoccupied with the election. They're preoccupied with other things coming out. If he was trying to protect himself as a whistleblower, that's a good way to do it. If he plans on testifying at the hearing. If he doesn't plan on testifying at the hearing, then I guess it kind of wouldn't matter when you come out, because people are going to be looking for you from that point on, right? But you've got a invisible target on your back the moment that article goes live, right? And this becomes public, because you also are going to have people that know how many whistleblower reports there are, right? And they can narrow it down, right? There's a lot of people even behind the scenes who are going to want to figure out who this person is, the same way that people leaked out stuff about David Grush from within the government to dismiss him, right? His background and all of that stuff. So I don't know. I'm just saying. It's
going to be an interesting couple of months for sure. Also, there's a lot of stuff happening in Latin America, in Peru specifically. So it's all going to happen at the same time, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I hear a screech real quick. I hear a screeching. Is that just me? Is that one else?
You don't live
by a train? You live by a train?
My AC just turned on. That might be what you're hearing. Is it really annoying?
It's loud, but don't worry about it. Look, I'll tell you what. Just mute yourself when you're not talking. But as soon as you, of course.
Gotcha.
But no sweat. Don't even sweat.
I'm a stream
right there.
noob.
There you go. But please, Todd, whenever you want to jump in. You know what I mean? All right.
At some point I have to vet myself, Patrick, because I made a couple statements earlier that are going to come back to bite me in the ass. I know it.
I do it every day, bro.
Don't
worry about it.
CIA in Denver, and I don't want people
just don't.
Oh, this guy didn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Bro, they say that about me every day. I'm trying not to curse anymore on the show, but
it's not gonna get you demonetized, is it?
We're gonna let it slide. But I am trying to not curse anymore on my shows. I'm trying.
I'm sorry I said
we're not perfect.
I'm sorry.
I'm completely
I said
capable. I can censor myself. It's all good.
Of course. Look, I'm the first one. I talk like a chef. Oh wait, I was right. Like, yeah, we have dirty mouths.
Yeah.
I don't have kids. You know what I mean? I talk like a grown up.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm trying to limit it. But whatever.
One grown up to another. I appreciate you.
Listen, I think that's all I have pretty much for this and kind of.
I wanted to,
stuff.
if you would indulge me a little bit.
Yeah, please, Pavel.
Just to clarify something, I know we're not going to talk about the Nazca mummies today that much, but I do want to talk about something that happened recently that I think I need to clarify what happened.
Sure.
I reported on a tweet from biologist Jose de la Cruz Rios, where he revealed the name of a congressperson from Peru who is allegedly going to lead the hearings that are supposed to happen in Peru about the mummies, because the Ministry of Culture is already taking this a little bit more seriously due to the lawsuit. They don't want to pay $300 million, obviously. And when I saw the tweet, I was like, okay, so this guy is part of the investigation, part of the scientists who are investigating this. I guess it's free. I guess I can use it. It's a free game, fair game. Sorry. I used it. I reported on it. My main focus was on that a pulsating signal from the implant that it did very well, but I did reveal the name, and Jaime Maussan was pissed. One of his right-hand man started tweeting, like rage tweeting at me. So I blocked him. I told him to please stay away from me because I don't want to have anything to do with him specifically. And then Jaime blocked me on X. So it doesn't really matter to me, but I do want to clarify what happened. I didn't know that the name wasn't supposed to be public yet because I thought it was fair game. I'm not going to remove it from my video because it's already out there. I'm not going to repeat the name again, but I just wanted to clarify that. And that's it. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay. There you go, people. All right. Well, I'm sorry that happened. That sucks. All right. What do you guys think about this program? Like, is there anything else we didn't bring up or talk about or mention? Look, and for the people watching in the chat, we're going to get to the chat here at the last half here, but
I'm going to try and turn off my hair. Sorry.
No, don't sweat it. What is there anything else we didn't talk about with this program? Any other points or peculiarities?
One of the things that kept rolling through my head, and maybe you guys can confirm this, and help me kind of parse through this. I remember hearing, and maybe this is when Dave Grush originally came out, maybe it was after he did his Jesse Michaels interview. When he was with the NRO, there was talk about a constellation, essentially, of satellites that were extremely high fidelity. And that these are the satellites that you often hear about, that they can get somebody's cell phone screen from space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's that level of fidelity.
We've all seen Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Okay.
Right. And I'm like, for the life of me, I'm like, for some reason, Titan keeps coming to my head, but I know that's probably wrong. I'm wondering if maybe that's what this Immaculate Constellation is that it's this grid, right, of these really high fidelity satellites that can see in different spectrums or something that are used to capture these things going in and out of the atmosphere, right? This would be maybe potentially the NRO's tracking system, and for the life of me, I feel like the name was brought forward, and I can't remember what that name was, and I just don't know if that strikes any notes with you guys.
You're saying the name of the satellite or the name?
The name of that reconnaissance constellation. I guess maybe it's just ironic that it's a constellation because I very much remember that about it.
Could be. I mean, that's what they're alleging this program is this constellation of satellites, right? Like essentially what you're saying, these satellites that can see clearly with some sort of high definition, right? Absolutely. Yeah, that's what's being alleged here. Absolutely. Is this maybe the same thing? Has it been said different ways, given different names? You know, is it the same collection of satellites? Do they have a collection of satellites, but then there's a few that are more classified, if that makes sense? Yeah, or just parts of the information that it, you know, it's got a special receiver on it that's classified, but it's part of all the satellite. I mean, there's so many different scenarios. One, I don't know anything about satellites, and two, I don't know anything, period. You know, so it's I'm at a disadvantage, y'all.
This does ties into some part of my investigation into what that James Webb story, and I've been looking into it a little bit more, and I keep hearing the phrase quantum satellites, which is very interesting to me because this was supposed to be a story that was going to come out a few years ago, but then they didn't release it. I'm not sure why they didn't, but
What
as soon
story?
as about quantum satellites, that they were a thing.
Got it.
And it was after the 2017 article. It was after that, but and it was like people were talking about it like in the background constantly. And
Todd, can you look up quantum satellites? Can you look up anything?
Sure.
See what you can find on quantum satellites. What
I asked Science Bob about this, and he told me that quantum satellites do exist, which was news to me because I had no idea that they did.
Sure.
I'm not saying that
that's what these are.
It's necessarily true though, that they do exist, but I mean, Science Bob does have a lot of connections, and
he owns a company. He's part of a company. What is it? Falcon 360 or no? That's not it. Is it? It's something. Oh man, I'm sorry, Bob. I'm not trying to get that wrong, but he has, I think, satellites. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so I did find something.
All right, look, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. Y'all talk about quantum satellites. 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Sure, Pavel, did you have anything else before I read this?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so it says here, quantum satellite uses quantum physics to communicate with the ground station and establish quantum communication over long distances. Duh, you know. Quantum satellites use quantum key distribution, QKD, technology to secure communication channels that are resistant to hacking, which is kind of cool. Quantum key distribution uses quantum states of particles to encode and transmit information. This makes it difficult for an attacker to intercept the signal because any attempt to do so will disturb the quantum state and alert the communicating parties. That's also interesting, and this might tie into what you're saying, right? Like Simon's information, and the potential to be using this to connect with another civilization. I mean, wasn't it what he was indicating?
What Simon was talking about was faster than light communication.
Yeah.
Quantum tunneling, they call it.
Right.
But Simon was talking about this breakthrough that happened in Germany from a scientist in Germany.
Yeah.
That it was just the breakthrough. It wasn't like functioning devices that could already do that.
Yeah.
Which is like a giant leap from a breakthrough to actual hardware that does that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm wondering, if these potential satellites that have these capabilities, and if they do, what does that mean? It's
well, the DoD's been researching that for years. It's like, what happens if there's an EMP attack, or the satellites go down? You need an alternative method to communicate, right, in order to sustain your government and stay viable in a conflict.
And that is also the reason why I think Elon Musk is constantly coy about all of this stuff, and he doesn't ever mention anything like tweeting. You'll never find something related even remotely to UAP from Elon. That's because I think that he's like part of this, and he's using or lending his equipment and like his whole infrastructure to make it happen, because if someone has the infrastructure to make that happen, it would be someone like him.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And it's shocking to me and frustrating to no end as a guy that respects what Elon's been able to accomplish in his career, that he's so dismissive of it. You know what I mean? Like, surely he's seen things that were difficult to explain, but I digress.
He spends too much. He's on Dogecoin, baby, to the moon. Diamond hand.
That's right, man. Gotta make that money.
Yeah. Look, let me play a little clip from. This is not me. It's gonna jump into Ross Coulthart talking about. I thought we should bring up maybe those events, those UFO events that were talked about right in this report, which I found fascinating. So this is one about an F-22 Raptor, right, with the Norm. Okay, pay attention here. Validity to the name of this program? Potentially. Anyway, here's that clip.
And I think the key incident that's the most extraordinary is there are allegations made in the report that one of the top line fighters in the US, the F-22 Raptor, was actually boxed in by as many as 3 to 6 orbs and forced out of an airspace area.
The other thing, Ross, that caught my eye because I was reading Schellenberger's piece was also that a former intelligence official, maybe it's also another one of the whistleblowers, I'm not sure, confirmed the existence of this program, but adding that it's run out of the Secretary of Defense office, and also warning that whoever even talks about it is put on government radar and is put in the danger zone. That's ominous, Ross.
It is. It's very ominous. And look, I should note the Defense Department has issued a statement formally denying categorically that there is any special access program, unacknowledged, waived, or special access program that has the terms Immaculate Constellation. But frankly, there are multiple sources backing Schellenberger's story, and he's sticking to a story and saying he knows he's right.
I mean, this is getting crazy, y'all, right? If you ask me. Okay, hang on. I mean, that's important, but I think this is what I wanted to show. Hang on. Check it out.
One of the things you do mention, there's another incident that you talk about where an orange orb was watched by the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier. A sphere descended from high altitude to about 100 to 200 yards directly above the flight deck of this aircraft carrier. It emitted a soft orange-red light, which didn't illuminate the ocean or the flight deck, despite the appearance of intense luminosity. The surface of the UAP was observed to be dynamic, roiling like the surface of the sun. And it was this bit here in your article that intrigued me. It appears to be acknowledging biological effects on humans, the consciousness, psychical engagement by these objects with human observers. It said afterwards, observing personnel felt as if they snapped out of a trance and a sense of personal unease. That's a really interesting biological effect of this phenomena, isn't it?
Yeah, and very impressive that it's acknowledged by the military.
So basically, let's sum this up. I put it. So that's interesting, right? You got a couple of events there, right? The F-22 Raptor. First of all, was really fun to look up videos of that. I wish we had videos of UFOs like we do of like fighter jets, bro, because they have some of the most amazing slow motion footage, and you see the frost and the steam or coming on, like it's just so cool. But it is one of the best airplanes we've ever created, right? And and America, right? So like we're one of the leading designers of this type of technology. So to hear of a story of that being sort of forcibly pushed out of a particular zone is disturbing, to say the least, right?
Yeah, and the psychological effects, that's startling.
With the other event, right? With the people on the air.
Like they came out of a trance. What's that mean?
I agree. Right. What you've heard, people have heard that, right? Loss of time, feeling like they came back from something, but not sure. You hear that from abductions to just experiences like this with, these orbs, right? And they're not described as craft in any way, at least in these two specific stories. And yeah, I don't know. I just find that, fascinating. Two completely different styles, right? One up in the air, the other an entire aircraft carrier and personnel on board. So it must mean multiple witnesses, right, that felt this. I wonder if leadership also experienced this to some extent. You know, the I don't know what you call it, the captain of the ship, whatever, the admiral. I don't know the correct term, but did they experience this and see this as well? Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's fascinating for sure.
It is. Our good friend Justin, Allie and Justin, shout out. Safely survived the hurricane. So
yay!
Grateful for that. Justin sent me a message in response to the brain issue I was having. The ICEYE constellation is a constellation of X-band SAR satellites. The ICEYE satellites provide high-resolution images to Earth's surface to enable better decision-making based on Earth observation data. So that might have been what I was attempting to describe earlier when I mistakenly said Titan, because Titan is actually the rocket that they launched from Vandenberg with a private payload and yada, yada, yada. I got my streams crossed.
All good. I mean, Google Earth is a great example of what capabilities there are that aren't even classified. Right.
So Google Earth is an interesting thing. And it's interesting that you bring that up, because I worked on a geospatial project in Unreal Engine where I was recreating in the game engine a whole area for the planet that I was doing. Yeah, it was the planet. It was literally the planet. I streamed in the whole planet. And what I found out in that research is that Google Earth actually uses some satellite data, but they fly planes in a grid pattern around the area. They combine that data. They combine that with also their ground-based tracking. You know, you see little cars with the little, the Google thing.
Yeah.
So they combine all those sources together, depending on the area. It's usually for the major metropolitan areas that they'll do that. But yeah, they combine these methods. It's really
how interesting is that? What if they do this for Immaculate Constellation? Even I'm having problems saying it again. Like, what if that's part of the right? They've got these planes that do. That's interesting.
I'm sure the NRO has something way more advanced than that.
Sure.
What we're allowed to see, remember, it's like 20 years behind of what the military has in terms of technology. So.
Well, I mean, look, you got Doppler stations all over the place for weather. You know, I mean, it seems like they could combine any number of different technologies and come up with better source data, right? And combining all these different sensor systems. It's probably way more intricate and amazing than we even imagine, is my guess. Although maybe we're just conflating it all, and maybe it's not. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, it's also begs the question of, because you always hear people say, and myself included, right? Where's the 4K video and photo of this stuff? Like, we have so much surveillance going on around this planet. How do we not have anything? Well, maybe we have, and we do.
It exists.
We just it's not being released, right? Clearly, that's what's being alleged here. Is this database for reconnaissance, right? Exists with. I would be curious to know how much data, right? Are we talking 6 files? Or are we talking thousands?
Terabytes, petabytes, probably petabytes of information. Video takes up a lot of space, as you know. It's a hefty.
Well, we don't know. That's what I'm saying. We don't know how much it is. It literally could be just 6 files. We nobody here knows.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, you're right about that.
Now your speculation on what it is different, but nobody here knows exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's no true statement can be said.
What's in that database? But I mean, those are the questions you'd want to know, right? What's in it? How much? What kind? Who has access? What are they going to do with it? What are they holding it for? What is this somehow maybe included in some of what could come out in this UAP legislation? Right? Is it? But maybe not. This is an off the books, unacknowledged program. right? Why did it start? Why is it unacknowledged? Did it branch off from another one, like you kind of were alluding to earlier, Pavel? Like, was it named something else before, you know, it morphed, right? And it became this thing.
And then I can also guarantee you almost there's already some kind of evidence that they're already scrambling to cover whatever this is up with. Maybe they already renamed it. Who knows? Because the Google searches were scrapped, and that's the evidence. So it's going to be difficult. But the fact that there's already a little bit of evidence of them scrambling, I think that's already giving credence to Schellenberger's report.
Sure.
You know, the perfect example of this, and that completely points to the obfuscation that's taking place, is there's two incidences, right? You have the spy balloons, which we had instantly like perfect high-res video of, right? And then you had the drone that was being affected by the Russian Sukhoi jets, right? Instantly, like this is like the next day or the day they're providing this video. And yet we hear this data all the time, the 23-minute video from Lou Elizondo, right? That famous 23-minute video supposedly is unclassified. But there's something in there that is allowing them to classify it. Well, I mean, let's face it. Lou brings up a couple good points, like, hey, maybe it's the area that they filmed it in. It's a very sensitive area. Usually it's the thing that's referenced are the sensor systems themselves and the information that's on the screen, like what we see in Gimbal and Go Fast and stuff like that. You know, they wouldn't want people knowing because it's a new system. But ultimately, it seems very unlikely that this stuff doesn't exist somewhere. There's just too many reports. I always wonder about the Gordon Cooper incident where he said that the saucer flew over the dry lake bed, and they're all standing there watching this thing, and it goes and it extends 3 little landing gear down and lands at the end of the dry lake bed. They go over with their Super 8 cameras or whatever they had, and they're filming this thing, right? And a guy shows up from the government, a courier, takes the footage, and off he goes, and they never see him again, right? And that you never hear about that after that. We would have never known about it if Gordon wouldn't have said something. It's going somewhere, and it's probably a part of this. You know, if you want to call it the control group, whatever name we come up with, Zodiac.
Yeah, and it also happens with evidence. Because
12.
I recently read the UFO of God book. I finished it, where Chris Bledsoe talks about this liquid or substance that comes out of the orbs, and some people saved some of that. But then when he met with Tom DeLonge, when he met with Tom DeLonge, they told him that they had this substance saved, and when they met with Tom DeLonge, Tom took that, and they never heard of it again. And
so
wherever,
sorry, no, please continue.
Wherever they took it, Tom took it to I don't know who it was. We know he has ties to
Los Alamos or some laboratory to get it studied.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I distinctly remember from recently reading that book. That was like, so they had physical evidence, and Tom took it. Where? I don't know, but they never saw it again. That's how it works. Like, that's how fast they work with this.
Yeah.
So he said that these spheres dropped some sort of juice, like they got UFO juice.
Like initially it was like they described it as plasma, and then it went like stiff. You know, like when molten metal becomes the metal. You know.
Oh, okay. I got
like
it.
that.
Yeah, and there are multiple stories too, right? Like there's there's a famous case where this vehicle dropped some molten material over a driveway. I think it landed in somebody's driveway. There's the case down in Gulf Breeze, Florida, right? Also witnessed a craft dripping something out of the bottom.
Pasolka talks about it too.
Walter's case, I think it was.
Pasolka talks about it too, though.
That seems very fishy to me, and I don't know. I don't know why that my brain's breaking here, and I'm like, that sounds so made up. That sounds like total bullshit. UFO juice. Come on now. That they leak. I mean, what the hell?
This
doesn't make sense.
They've got exhaust, right? Why wouldn't that be a potential?
I don't know. All right, let's get to some Q&A with the vetters, the rest of the vetters here. This is from Daniel. He said, give the like a little tickle.
Daniel has a way with words, doesn't he?
I love that we've come up with new ways to not just say hit the like button or smash the like. It's always something. Daniel always has something very clever. Walk over and ask the like button out on a date or something. You know, it'd always be something clever. JP Cole sent a super sticker. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Yeah. You rock. Andre Wright says, I really feel like the big kahuna is coming.
Oh, man.
Ooh, the big kahuna. A big wave, basically, right? Like a huge wave. JP Cole gifted 10 vetted membership. Holy Jesus. She did 20 more.
Holy moly.
Holy cow. And 5 more.
Jen
dude, and then 1 more. Holy shit, that's 36.
No swearing, Patrick.
I told you, I'll be the first one to break the rule. I'm horrible at it. Wow. No, thank you so much. That is awesome, y'all. I'm not entirely sure the mods can help you in the chat of how to get those membership because I have zero clue how that works, but they can let you know. But that's wow. I'm blown away. Thank you so much. That is great. That's going to help out a lot of people. UFOs Around the World says Lockheed has a list of planes all with the name Constellation at the end, about 7 in total. Coincidence? That's interesting.
He might be referring to the that image that came out that was the Immaculate Materials image. Do you remember seeing that? It had all the different planes.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same one.
That's probably it.
If I was more prepared, I'd have that for you.
Is one of those planes the Aurora? That's what it's called.
The Aurora was it was a Lockheed project.
That's Lockheed's too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember the Aurora.
Nick Cook talks about it in his book a lot, that he was tricked.
High altitude spy plane, I think that they were supposedly in development with.
Got it. Okay. No, that's definitely interesting for sure. Keep your eye out for Hangar 18 being spoke about. I think, Todd, didn't you bring that up earlier?
Yeah, I did. And that was one of those things that I had to vet myself on because I said Hangar 17 and I felt like an ass. But yeah, it's Hangar 18.
I don't know. I would just say Hangar something, you know?
Yeah, it's all rumor and speculation, but there's a lot to it, right? Like it seems like there's definitely some meat to it.
Sure.
Meat on the bone.
That's the thing. This is going to like get people talking about that, right? Like it's clearly going to get people talking. People are going to start pulling threads, you know what I mean? And maybe even pulling threads on who this whistleblower is, more about this program, you know, all of this stuff. What's more going to come out? Is this going to be part of James Fox's documentary? Is this that program? Is this a separate program? Michael Schellenberger described it as sort of the parent program, right? For crash retrieval and reverse engineering, not just this database, right? So I don't know. It's definitely super interesting. I gotta admit.
I would say that it's one of at least a handful of programs that are taking place right now, because we saw that the Office of Global Access, that's a program, and Chris Sharp said recently that name changed recently, and those undersea crash retrievals, that's another one, or maybe the same, but I think that one is different from this major one, right?
Yeah.
And it's really important that it's like them responding to all the obfuscation, talking about this program in the open. So it's forcing people's hands if it's true.
You're right.
Just real quick on that Aurora, it was the SR-91 Aurora. It was rumored hypersonic spy plane that was supposed to be developed in the 1980s or 1990s to replace the SR-71 Blackbird. The Aurora was said to reach speeds of Mach 5 and fly at altitudes of 90,000 feet. However, there was little evidence to support the existence of Aurora, and the U.S. government has denied that it was ever built. So there you have it.
Oh. Chameleon says plasma poo. Okay.
I saw that earlier. I was like,
I giggle a little bit when I saw that.
I like that, but I also like UFO juice. Come on now.
UFO juice is pretty good.
I don't know.
I
don't know what we need. It is creepy. Right, yeah.
Oh my God. Holy
Marky
shit.
Those are Mexican pesos.
Yeah, pesos.
I don't know what that means.
Different
like
currency.
$30.
Well, I mean, I get that,
which is really good.
I don't know what it is.
Listen, I'm happy with anything getting said. So yes, absolutely. No, Marky's in our open mic discords too, man.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone for all the support. Really, I mean that. Thank you so much, Marky. And to everyone, let's get into some other questions, y'all. If you guys have any questions, put them in all caps. And, for me, Pavel, Todd, whoever, or just a topic, I'll try to just pick out some too. Here, Marcus has a question here. He says, what was the name of the craft from 2 days ago? The D. Cheney 71? Oh, the Avengers A-12 craft. That's what you're thinking of, Marcus. That Dick Cheney had canceled, but that an amateur photographer took pictures of a craft that looked identical to it in 2014 when they said it was canceled in 1990.
And people wonder why we why people have these conspiratorial minds, It's like, we canceled that, and then it just shows up.
There's all kinds of weird things. To give you a reference of, does the government always tell the truth? Right? Like, absolutely not.
No.
Costas Khan, what's up, man? He says, Pat, here on Europe, when searching Immaculate Constellation, a filter comes up on Google that says, "Is your source reliable? Check back later."
That's weird.
Tell them vetted your source and to let you in. I'm just kidding. They probably will ban you.
He sent us
Don't tell
this
them that.
yesterday and he said earlier it was bringing up actual results, and then it changed to this, and it's a very weird message because I don't even think this is the whole message. There's more to it.
It was more. Okay, no, that's interesting.
It was weird.
Clearly, some things with that term were kind of messed with in Google, and that is interesting. I will admit that is definitely interesting. It kind of went away, came back. But even if you just search the terms on their own, there is not a lot of information. Like, you would have figured there'd be just randomly things would have been put in a blog post or something. There's nothing. It's crazy. And now everything will just be videos and reports that people are doing now, right? That's all the results are now when you look it up.
So the follow-on to that was other sources may have more information on this matter in a few hours or days, which I found to be, it's probably just some default message that we don't ever see.
Yeah. Weird. Well, that's a good timeline, right? It'll either be a minute or 44 days. Like, what the? Legend says, dude, you guys are awesome. But Todd, dude, what video game story you got? Patrick and Pavel, I love you guys too. Todd, it was rad having you live. You got a quick video game story?
Yeah, Todd? I'm not exactly sure what he's looking for. I've done a little bit of development, and that might be what he's looking for, is a little bit of development information. Not really. I mean, jump in the open mic.
What's the funniest thing? What's the funnest game that you worked on, or the best experience you had?
Well, I mean, I spent the majority of my career working in film, and probably the funnest experience was Jimmy Neutron, like, without question, because it's just a
holy hell
beloved franchise. And
totally.
I can tell you guys right now, what I would appreciate is if you gave a little love to a show called Super Giant Robot Brothers. It was the first ever full animated series done in Unreal Engine, which is a game engine. And I love the characters. They're almost as endearing to me as Jimmy Neutron. And it's hard to compare them because Jimmy was such a, great show with interesting characters and stuff. But yeah, Netflix, Supergiant Robot Brothers has a really catchy song too.
Oh, it's on Netflix. I'll watch it. Thanks.
Yeah, please check it out. I think it deserves more views.
Hell yeah. What was it called again? Say it one more time.
Supergiant Robot Brothers.
Love
and
it.
it's just like that, baby. It's kind of like
love
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the same kind of hit, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. All right, this is from Terrence Wills. I hope I'm saying that right. Question for all three. What is your hope for the rest of 2024, and why do you think they don't talk about who's flying the craft? Much love. Y'all take it away. I'll let y'all answer.
Todd.
Oh, I thought you were going to go first. The rest of 2024. So basically, there's this tug of war going on, and what I would love is if, number one, the world calms down a little bit, and we get away from these horrible war situations and the suffering and death that is existing, so that we can focus more on interesting things like NHI, UAP, and the potential to end some suffering with new technologies that could come forward as a result of that reveal. Hopefully, like that's always my hope. Now, realistically, I'm looking forward to the hearings more than anything. I think that November hearing got me super excited, and the program is absolutely like on my high list of things that I'm looking forward to. But Matthew Pines and what he's saying, Carl Nell, where's the next Soul Conference? Like, I want to see what goes on at the next Soul Conference. Where they kind of broke the seal last year. So let's get into a rhythm and a flow with this. We also have a new that I want to get more information on that archive, the National Archive release. And I would love to see a little more pressure put on in terms of subpoena power. You guys know how much I love that. Like in the UAPDA, let's try and get it back in. It may be a multi-year thing that we're just going to have to fight.
Sure. Pavel, what do you think, man?
Just to continue on what Todd is saying about how polarized the world is right now, I hope you guys come out of this election cycle, if not unscathed, because I think that's going to be a little bit difficult because of how divided the country is. At least the dust needs to settle a little bit more in terms of that. I hope this division that keeps persisting, you guys find a way to dialogue and talk to each other, because I think that's something that is lacking quite a bit in the US. People just point the finger and they don't approach each other and ask, why are you feeling that way? Why are you attacking in that way? What's wrong? What can we do to end this and fix this? That's for one, on the most realistic side of things. In terms of the topic, those hearings are going to be very important, I think, but I also want to put a little more attention on what's happening in Peru and Latin America. Whatever happens there, if these hearings happen in Peru and confirmation of these bodies being real happens, I think that's going to be a major game changer. And there's a Japanese speaker on the Soul Foundation that is going to give a presentation on the Soul Conference. This Japanese, I think he's leading the effort on UAPs in Japan, but he's also talking a lot about the Nazca beings. And Japan is one of the countries that is taking it very seriously. And I think that's important too, because we know Japan has a history of dealing with this subject in a very specific manner. And the fact that they're taking, paying attention to both sides of it, I think it goes to show that there is something to the Nazca bodies as well. So that's what has me more excited. The program obviously everybody's excited about that. But I want to know what is going to happen with this Dan Farrett documentary, if it happens at all, because they've been hyping it up quite a bit recently, and I hope it comes out before the end of the year. So that's what I'm most excited about right now.
Yeah, and
Okay.
sorry, Pavel.
Hang on. Look, we got a lot of questions to go through, guys. So we gotta keep these a little. Though I appreciate everything y'all are saying. Let's try to get as many questions out here. I agree with everything y'all said. This is from King Bull Patrick. Will you be reviewing Jon Stewart's documentary on Thanksgiving night? I don't know if that particular evening, but yes, I will be reviewing it. And John emailed me, and I need to email him back and send a video for him that it will be included in the documentary. Apparently, I'm going to be in it, saying I don't believe it. I said, hey, I got to be able to speak my truth. Otherwise, I won't do it. And he's totally cool. That's why I respect John. Anyway, all right, let's go. We got another one here. Todd, if there was a sequel to Paul and Seth Rogen is not in it, would you do the voice for the coolest ET ever? Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That would be fun. You know what? I would be, honestly, you would have a great voice for that character.
So here's just a real quick story. I've actually done 2 voices. One of them got cut, and the other one's in a commercial. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. No, that's great. Okay. Oh my God. I'm supposed to have all this ready, and I don't. So hang on. Do you think these super satellites are more for looking into the ocean? Oh, that's interesting. What do y'all think about that?
There's a recent article that I saw on, I don't know if it was either Scientific American or Popular Mechanics, where they talk about satellites that are a satellite system that is beneath the ocean, under the ocean. And I think that these satellites are both equipped to look at the Earth and also outside. So I think it has both functions. So yeah, essentially, yeah, they could be used for that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's already been noted, right? Like they knew that this submersible terrible incident that happened with the submersible that collapsed in at the Titanic. They knew it happened before the rest of us did because they heard it with this system that they have.
No, great question. I love that. Real quick. Here's just a comment real quick for you, Todd. More Todd Harper guest episodes. There you go, buddy. You did great.
Thanks, Marcus.
And, and he says, of course, Pavel. And what about me, Marcus? Okay.
Well, you're the given here. You're the given.
What the F, Marcus? No mention of me. No, I'm kidding. No, dude. Marcus, such a great dude. Great question. Or great comment. And I totally agree. Todd, you did great today. Pavel, of course. Me, I always crush it because I'm amazing. No, I'm kidding. Look, this is UFOs around the world. It says, question for whoever. Do you think this year has pushed this topic beyond the point of being returned back underneath the rug? That's interesting. What do y'all think?
To me, that ship sailed when I saw Fravor talking about the Tic Tac.
Like there's no putting the toothpaste back in the tubes, sort of, essentially.
I want to believe that. I'll say that, like, just like your poster says in the background there, Pat, like, I want to believe it. I really do. I don't underestimate our Intel and DoD folks at their capabilities. Look at this war that we've been in. Look at the tug of war that's been going on. I want to believe that it won't ever be put back in the bottle. I don't think it will, but there is a chance. In my opinion.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Depending on the capabilities that people have gleaned, maybe there's a way to reverse.
Can I say something slightly controversial?
This. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Because the way a lot of people within the control disclosure movement are framing the government and people like Lou and everybody who's like on this, they talk about them as if they were incompetent. And they're like, it's just like they're a mess. They don't know what they're doing. A lot of the times they have no idea of the like legal aspect and the law aspect of this. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know if this is like a frame to make them look dumb when they're doing this, which I really don't agree with. I don't think they don't know what they're doing. I think they know exactly what they're doing, but maybe they want to frame it that way. I don't know the reason, but I just wanted to say that I don't think they don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that a lot of this is intended to keep the earthbound nemesis, at bay, right? Like they're trying to confuse them. Governments, defense departments do this all the time. They try to confuse each other. The intel, they're trying to throw them off balance, right? So there is some of that. There's disinformation, it's misinformation. It's the arrow in their quiver, as Grush likes to say, and I love that saying. The arrow's in their quiver. People underestimate. Look, please separate the idea of government entities and the bureaucracy that takes place from the military-industrial complex, the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, the intel crew. Like these guys are smart. And like Elizondo said, look, they're just better at their jobs. Like they've been doing this forever. We police ourselves. Look at our community and how we attack each other.
Look, if they have time travel technology, they can literally just go back in time and undo disclosure. So, but here we go. I do want to say this. Yes, please put all your questions in all caps, just for here at the end, not regularly during the chat, but definitely at the end. That is okay to do. I saw some people saying, "Don't do that." No, do that, because it's hard for me to see the questions from the comments. There's literally, I don't even know, over 1,000. All right, question for Pavel. Says, as a journalist, how would you get Mike Turner to make a solid, to-the-point statement regarding the problem with UFO disclosure versus him being sponsored, quote, by Wright-Patterson interest? Okay, great question.
I would try to go direct my question at the money, not at the topic, and try to direct my question at the tech, not at UFOs or aliens, because that way you can get him to at least say something related to it, and then you can catch a little detail that he might have slipped. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, you can't put him on the defensive, right? Like if you say, we see that you get this much money from this already, you're getting these kickbacks, he's going to go into defensive mode.
Aaron Dunn says, question, will you guys be counting how many mentions of Immaculate Constellation in chat? Yeah, I've been counting as I'm doing this, Aaron. So it's 737.
I'm multitasking.
I'm like Rain Man.
Like counting the gumballs in a jar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Leaf asks, where do you think Tom DeLonge is at in all of this? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd be curious what he thinks about this program. Has he ever heard of it? Yeah, that's interesting.
He's been doing more podcasts again. So
yeah,
maybe we'll.
I mean, do you think, this kind of brings up a bigger point, which is this question about Immaculate Constellation is going to get asked a lot now in podcast interviews, right? How is Lou not going to get asked about? How is, just moving forward, anybody and everyone, I feel like, is going to be asked about this, including David Grush when he comes back out.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to, right after this, I'm going to have some breakfast and then go straight to the Jesse Michaels interview, because they may talk about a lot of this.
100%. No, you're right. I want to watch it too. I won't be able to watch it till tonight, but yeah, it's I can't wait to watch. I mean, just his productions, period, right? It doesn't matter. He's one of those channels that it doesn't matter what the video's about. I'm watching it, because even if it's not something I know about or I'm interested in, I will be interested in it by him just covering it, if that makes sense.
Him and James Fox, like kind of like those are two guys that related to this field that I'm just like, I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, they're different though, right? James is.
Oh, they are. They are. No, for sure.
But I know what you mean. If they do something, you want to watch it.
I do think Jesse is growing into the level of production that James Fox.
Well, they
has.
just provide different things, right? Like Jesse's
Yeah.
doing this YouTube that it reaches.
But he does
documentaries
documentaries though.
100%.
I consider
But
them
on
documentaries.
how many has he put out in the 2 years since the last one James Fox has put
he's
out?
put out
a
like
ton.
5 over the last month.
That's what I mean.
dude.
Like his clearly his output. It's just a different setup that he has.
Yeah, different
He's going
format.
through it quicker. Yeah, it's a different format. It's what I like about his podcast, which is something I always wanted to do myself with mine, and I don't do it to the extreme he does, which is insert context into the interview. Right, as you're doing the interview, you go interview someone, and now you're going to add all this other context and make this thing. I like doing the same thing, so that's why I love his so much. I mean, his is 1,000 times better than anything I could ever do. Yeah, he's amazing. So I can't wait to watch that one. I'm sure everyone is already checking it out or going to check it out. Liron Mosayov, hope I'm saying that right. Liron. Didn't Matthew Pine say that someone familiar on the news will come out? Do you think it's Michael Schellenberger? I don't think it's a journalist, but that's an interesting question. I think we spoke about it earlier, right? I think we kind of covered that earlier. But real quick, if y'all want to just summarize your answers from earlier real quick.
Well, we mentioned Lloyd Austin as one potential possibility. The other gentleman was there was a guy at the hearing last year that looked a lot like him. I'm forgetting his name. He's been bandied around about. Hey, go ahead, Pavel, because I'm forgetting his name.
I think you're talking about McCullough. No,
not McCullough.
Okay.
Charles McCullough.
No, it's not Charles.
Not him.
No.
Okay, so I think it could be Jake Sullivan, but I wish it was Obama.
Dude,
Obama would be great. Yes, Obama would be great, and I could almost see too. I could almost see that.
Yeah. Sure. No, I agree. And it's a great question, Liron. I hope I'm saying your name right. This is from, I don't know. Looks like it was Russia. I just see CCP. I just think Russia. I don't know. Question. What do you think the phenomena is? And thank you, Patrick, Pavel, Todd, Ali, Justin, and the great community that it has built. Thank you.
Thanks, Terrence.
What do you think the phenomena is? I'll let you guys answer.
I can provide an answer and also give you guys an exclusive if you want.
Woo!
Oh shit! Great question, Terrence. You got an exclusive out of
Santa Claus is here today.
Okay, so you guys know how much I've been hyping up Jacobo Greenberg and all of his work.
Yeah.
The director Ida Cuellar we've developed a really nice relationship. He lives in Barcelona, and he has been going back and forth with me, trying to come up with his next project. And he told me if I wanted to be part of it. I said yes. And we recently had a call to land on the potential subject of his documentary. He wants to tackle the phenomenon as a whole and try to do a different interpretation of it, based more on 2 books. One of them is Patrick Harper's Daimonic Reality, and the other one is Jacques Vallée's Passport to Magonia. And this and John Keel's work describe what the phenomenon could be for me, the way I interpret it, which is, I think it's some sort of, intelligence that does play with human perception, depending on the times and depending on the upbringing that the person has, or the town, the community. I think that's what we may be dealing with. However, I also think that we could also be dealing with a lot of technology that us humans did crack at a certain point, and that is being kept massive secret from the rest of humanity. I think that both things are possible. I'm not saying they are real yet, but that's where I'm leaning towards.
I love it. Bam. Todd, what do you think, man?
Well, let's preface this with it's all theory and opinion.
Sure.
Nobody has answers. All the above. is what you guys, anybody that comes in the open mic has heard me say this multiple times. All of the above. It's NHI is ultra terrestrial, extraterrestrial, extra tempestrial, like name it. It's could be future humans. It could be. I mean, to me, what feels most compelling is something that has lived here for much longer than us, has probably been here for millennia, and has watched us and observed us, and they have a keen interest in us, but not just us, the planet as a whole, as one giant organism, and just how incredible it is. I personally believe that there are other Earths out there. There are other livable planets, probably tons of them. If I'm being honest, I think it's like pervasive. I think life is probably everywhere out there. I think it's a lot more common than we currently acknowledge. And maybe we'll find that out someday. But I wouldn't put any limitations on it, because I mean, look, as much as I'm not religious per se, I'm more of a spiritual guy, you know, but I've even entertained more of that, like as a possibility, because I think it's language, where it's nomenclature. It's the way in which we reference these phenomena that are all the same thing. We're talking about the same thing. We're just using different nomenclature to define it, right? But it means the same thing, and somehow we let that divide us. So I think in a perfect world, everybody could just have their language about it, but know that it's the same thing. It's the same thing. There's no difference. That's my opinion.
I love it, man. No,
what about you, Patrick?
Oh gosh, I'm not even sure the phenomena exists, me personally. But I love hearing all the different theories and discussing them all. The one I wish that it could be is something with time travel. I just like that idea, because I love that. But just on a more simplistic level, I absolutely agree with Todd, and probably you as well, Pavel. I think the universe is teeming with life, and we're just, we're grabbing a glass out of the ocean essentially right now, but eventually we'll see, oh wow, there's life going on, like, as much as we see stars, in my opinion. So which is exciting, right? And what keeps me interested in this topic and covering it and talking about it. And honestly, stories like this with Michael Schellenberger, definitely make me raise my eyebrows and like, something's not right here, right? Something is going on, and that is quite fascinating. So, look, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on and talking about all this. This was so much fun, and the time flew by. If I'm being honest, it just flew by, dude. We did 2 hours almost, y'all. Crazy. So thank you guys. Y'all brought so much great insight, and I loved hearing your opinions and your take on this. I just really appreciate, you guys coming on the show. Todd, especially, your first time coming on Vetted. So I really appreciate you taking the time. It was last minute. And Pavel and I had originally planned to do this about the Nazca mummies, but because this big story dropped, I'm like, hey, what do you think? We should maybe cover this, right? So we will get back and do a Nazca mummy one. I do want to talk about that. Can pull that thread more about Jaime and whatever else going on.
One thing though, Professor Stephen Brown just is starting to make the rounds again. So that means that there's something that they can talk about now. So I'm going to start asking. So it's good that we didn't talk about the mummies now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. See, that's the thing that always happens with the mummy. There's always like another thing a couple weeks around the corner where it's like, oh, well, let's, But yes, that's exciting. And I want to learn more about that, and we'll make sure we follow through with that. Again, after the stream, I'm going to put all the links in the description so you can go follow up on some of the stuff that we mentioned. But, for right now, this is clearly a big story, clearly reaching a lot of people, not just in the UFO community, but outside the UFO community. And we'll see what happens with these hearings coming up. But again, I want to thank both these gentlemen for coming on, and hopefully we had a good stream for you and explained some of this a little bit for you. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, thank you to the mods for running the chat today. I probably got a little crazy, and just shout out to Justin and Allie, coming back to Florida, from the hurricane. So again, yeah. All right, guys, that's it.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Congrats on 35K, man.
Did we hit
Holy
35K?
moly.
Yes.
We hit
You just did.
35K. Sweet.
Wow, dude.
Look at that, y'all.
Choo choo.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, that's phenomenal. That is great. Thank you to everyone. Look, if you want, join our Discord. There may be a little get together after this. I don't know. But either way, every day after the shows, there usually is something going on in our Discord. And Todd, it's just a big reason why I brought him on today. He's a big part of making that happen and having great engagement. So you can have some great conversations outside of the vetted verse, as I'll call it, in the Discord. So again, thank you so much, Todd, for coming on, man.
Hope
you had a good time, right? Was this fun?
Thank you, Todd.
This is great, man. I had a blast.
You had fun?
Yeah, I had a
Good.
blast.
Good.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for making me comfortable. And
I got this, baby. I would have been giving you a shoulder massage if I was there in person.
Yeah, some grapes.
Yeah, some grapes, baby. I got you, Doc.
Thanks, brother.
All right, betters. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
Peace.